Yadong Song versus Chris Gutierrez. Anthony Smith versus Khalil Rountree. Tim Elliott stepping in on short notice to face Sumaderji, and all fights for UFC Fight Night. I am Andy from WagerTalk.com. I'm going to break down all these fights. Normally I do this video early in the week. Wanted to wait closer to Fight Night, see if any fights get canceled, and sure enough, that happened. So we're going to jump right in. No time to waste. I do have a best bet that is up at WagerTalk.com. You can grab that right now. Just go to profile page Andy Lang at WagerTalk.com. Let us start with the first fight, Rayanne Amanda. Her name is Rayanne Amanda on Tapology. You'll see her on DraftKings as Rayanne Dos Santos facing Talita Alencar. I watched this fight of Alencar's on Contender Series, and let me tell you, not impressive. She comes from a wrestling and grappling background, and that's what she does in her fights. Her striking defense is bad, and she has absolutely no striking. It is so weak, but where she's great is getting opponents to the ground, controlling them, dominating large chunks of time. Unfortunately, it just, I don't know, her gas tank just completely left, and she wasn't even fighting somebody that good on Contender Series. She got 10-8'd in the last round, so it ends up being a draw. They give her a chance here in the UFC, and I like Rayanne Amanda. Her stand-up is good. She could deliver real damage. She's 14-6 in her career, and here's the thing. Her takedown defense is pretty decent. I watched her stuff a couple takedowns here, and while I don't think she's going to be able to stuff all of Alencar's takedown, I think she's going to make it more difficult than Alencar is expecting, because on the feet, it is no contest. Rayanne Amanda is going to piece her up, and Alencar is going to be in big trouble. So I think Alencar will get her down, a couple times. But I like Rayanne Amanda big time in this one. It's only the money has come in on Amanda. This opened around minus 140. It's now up around minus 160. I think she wins. I can't believe Alencar is even fighting in the UFC. So no striking, bad defense. Truly a one-trick grappling pony, and I think this is just going to be too much for her. So I like Rayanne Amanda. Tatsuro, Taira, Carlos Hernandez. There's absolutely no doubt what Taira's going to do. He's going to work the takedowns, and he's going to go for a submission, which is a pretty good idea against Carlos Hernandez. So Carlos Hernandez, he's got pretty decent striking. I thought he looked good against Bondar. I don't know how good Bondar is. My guess is not even nearly as good as Taira. So, but Hernandez got the fight he wanted against Bondar. Stand there and bang and strike, and unfortunately, Taira's not going to play that game. He's going to take Hernandez down, and this fight right here against Alan Nascimento, Hernandez just could not fight a submission and gets choked out fairly easily from Nascimento. So I think this is Taira all day. Remember, this was supposed to be in Shanghai. So I think this is a showcase for Taira. He's 14-0, and he's just, his fight against Edgar Chaira's decision, it was just pure domination. And then he's just got a bunch of these, triangles and arm bars and rear naked chokes, and based on what I've seen from Carlos Hernandez, I just don't think he's going to have the defense. Once it gets on the ground, it's over. So, and I'm just not sure Carlos Hernandez has the power to end it early, which I think he's going to have to do. So it's Taira. I'm sure Taira by submission is going to be like the big parlay piece. So do what you want with that one, but it should be Taira all day. Stephanie Egger and Luana Santos. Stephanie Egger is a underdog, and money's come in on her. She better win this fight. I don't understand the lines on this one. First, I don't think Luana Santos is that good. That being said, you could say Stephanie Egger hasn't looked that great. So we look at Santos, and she makes her debut, and she knocks out Juliana Miller, who might be one of the worst female fighters in the UFC, ever. She's pretty bad. She gassed after just a couple minutes, and she's just really bad. Betting against Juliana Miller is a cash cow. So she gets it, but her striking is just wild. It's a little unorthodox. She has a lot of finishes, but this loss against Jenna Bishop was pretty tough. I just think on Egger's best day, is better than Luana Santos. But is Egger going to be on her best day? We don't know. This ridiculous knee bar that she lost to Arina Alexieva was just a terrible look. So the fight against Eileen Perez was really good. Perez is a really good fighter. I like Eileen Perez a lot. I think she's tough. I think she's strong. So that was a good one. And then, loses to Mayra Buena Silva. That's an elite fighter. So I wish I knew if Stephanie Egger was going to be paying attention and was going to be on her A game, because if she is, we're going to cash an underdog pick, and I think she dominates Santos. If she's screwing around and not on her A game, she's going to be in trouble. So for the video, I'll pick Stephanie Egger just because on their two best days, I think Egger is just better. I think she controls the clinch, gets it on the ground, and can work submissions and a lot of control time. So I'll pick Egger on this one, but I'm certainly not betting it. There's no way I'm betting this fight. I'm not to start round two, not to go the distance, not to go the distance, no side. There's no money that I will be betting on this one. But for purposes of this video, it's Stephanie Egger. If you could, please leave a like, and I hesitate to say this, but I feel like it's part of the job. Leave me a comment. Try and make it positive. Try to have correct pronunciation. Try to capitalize the right words. Try not to have sentence fragments. I don't know. Try something like those bozos last week didn't do. Try not to call me names, but just leave a comment and say, hey, nice video, or hey, this is my best bet. That's the proper way that adults do comments here. So, Steve Garcia, Milky Costa. Sorry. Steve Garcia, Milky Costa. We didn't see this one. Garcia had an illness, so we're just moving it to a week out, and I guess Garcia's fine now. I don't know. So last week when I talked about this fight, I think the power of Garcia is live to stun and knock out Costa. So there's just there's too many unknowns in this one. Costa is absolutely the play. His striking is very good. He's going to be faster than Steve Garcia. He had a really nice, solid win against Austin Lingo. I wouldn't pay too much attention to this loss against Thiago Moises. He took it on short notice and put on a really, really good effort. So I like Milky Costa. Steve Garcia does have power. He's coming off of a couple of KOs, I believe. Did we get Chase Hooper? Yeah, Chase Hooper and Nuremberg. This uppercut to the body was so vicious, and that's what Steve Garcia has. He's got power in his back pocket, and he can land it. So I won't be betting this fight. Another reason is because everybody and their mother is on Milky Costa. So I'm not going to bet anything on this fight. This fight being delayed a week and Garcia being in the hospital, I guess Costa's the play, but I will not be betting any money on it. Young Sung Park and Shannon Ross. Shannon Ross is one of the worst fighters in the UFC. He's got knocked out in 59 seconds and 17 seconds. So we've still yet to cross that 1 minute barrier. Darn it. I think we can get there this week. So I think if you want to take over a minute, I think that one actually cashes this week. But no, listen, I'm joking. Shannon Ross is bad. So chinny. I mean, Aguilar got him on the chin, and he was unconscious as he was falling to the ground. So there's no chance I'm betting on Shannon Ross. And Young Sung Park, I got to tell you, these fighters coming out of the road to UFC, I just don't think I'm going to bet on a side on any of their fights. I think I'm just going to bet fights to not go the distance. These guys are like kill or be killed. We watched a guy who I bet on. We watched him winning the fight until his opponent started barking like a dog, and then he fell apart mentally and got KO'd in the third round. I'm just betting these fights to not go the distance. I think they get really pumped up. I think their striking defense is bad. Park's striking defense is bad. Ross's is non-existent. So somebody's going to sleep in this one. I think I'm just not laying this price on Park. Park, give me a break. What is he, minus 675 on DraftKings when I'm looking at this? So you get better odds on the fight to not go the distance, or maybe under 2.5 rounds. Someone's going to sleep. My guess is it's Shannon Ross. But yeah, I'm just playing it safe, and I will just take it to not go the distance and use it as a parlay piece. Interesting fight here. Kenan Song and Kevin Jousset. So I went back and I watched. I'll start with Jousset here. Nickname is Air. Okay. This fight he had against Kiefer Crosby was really interesting because he was taller. He used his length, which was really good. Jabs were pretty good. He just looks so stiff. I don't know. He won. He gets the submission, but oh my God, Crosby It was the slowest developing submission you've ever seen, and Crosby just let him have it. It was like Crosby bet against himself, man, because he just got on his hands and just let Jousset wrap up the submission. But it was a terrible submission. Nothing to write home about. So, and Kenan Song, so he's lost two straight to he lost two straight to Ian Gary and Max Griffin. And then he beats Bedoya, which was pretty interesting because I think a lot of people were high on Bedoya. Song pushed forward, landed the better shots all fight. Really nice knockdown in round 2. I thought his movement looked pretty good. I'm not sold on either one of these guys. I think both guys can get hit. I'm not 30 and 33 years old. There's no way I'm laying minus 165 on Kevin Jousset. But I'm also not going to bet on Kenan Song. So this fight is going to be passed. I will not have one penny on this one. I wouldn't bet it to start round 2 or to not go the distance or anything like that. If anything, I guess the value's in the dog because I just, going back and watch Jousset, not really impressed that much. Andre Muniz and Jun Yong Park. I love Park in this one. If you guys follow me on Twitter, @BumpSports, I'm going head-to-head with Clint from the Die Hard MMA podcast. He likes Muniz. I like Jun Park. So I'll start with Park here. And this loss he had to Gregory Rodriguez, man, that was a battle. You go back, they were standing toe-to-toe. I thought Rodriguez was going down. He was almost out. Park ended up being KO'd, but Rodriguez was about as out of it as you could get. Park likes to march forward. He's got an iron chin. He comes back from that loss to Rodriguez. He gets win against some guys that are not very good. Joseph Holmes sucks, and so does Neslula. But Durayev's a real fighter. Durayev comes out fast, and Park weathers the storm. He knew he was going to eat some shots, and he did, but he delivered some as well. Wears him down. It gets the rear naked choke in round 2. And I just continue to think that Park is undervalued. Now, money is coming in on him heavy. And with Andre Muniz, what I see with him is he is slowing down in his career. Like this fight against Souza, he was amped up. He was excited. He was pushing the pace. He just looked fast, and it was good. Eric Anders, he looked pretty good. Gets the armbar. This fight against Uriah Hall, I bet on Muniz, and I was not impressed. Uriah Hall had both feet out the door. I think it was his last fight, but he's not fighting anymore. And he gets a decision win, but it wasn't impressive. He just held him on the ground and didn't do much with it. And then what happens? Step up in competition. Brendan Allen controls him, pushes him forward. Muniz melts. And then losing to Paul Craig. When Paul Craig's pressure on the feet gets you to melt and get ground and pounded, that's terrible. So if you watch the Paul Craig fight and you watch it right next to the first part of the Souza fight, you're just like, man, Muniz is slowed and he doesn't look aggressive. And I think Park is going to sniff that out from the opening bell. He's going to land leg kicks. And he's just going to put the pressure on Muniz, and I just don't see what Muniz does. He doesn't strike that hard. And I think Park's perfectly fine with not putting his arm in a bad position. So I like Park to win here. I'm going head-to-head with Clint from Die Hard MMA podcast. You can check us out on Twitter and see what we're doing. We both put our money where our mouths are and placed a bet on Bet Openly. So Nasrat, Haqparast, and Jamie Mullarkey. I like this fight to go the distance. Both guys are very similar, I think. Even similar records, 15-5, 17-6. I guess I get why Nasrat's the favorite, but I don't know if I'm ready to lay this kind of price. That's why I just think it's going the distance. So you look at Nasrat and going to decision against Landon Quinones. I don't know. Quinones, I watched him on The Ultimate Fighter, and I wasn't impressed with him. And then, he goes the distance against Nasrat. Good performance, okay. McDessie goes to decision. Bobby Green, decision. Dan Hooker, decision. Rafa Garcia, decision. Alex Widows, decision. You can see where this is going. So Nasrat, pretty good volume. He's accurate, but just doesn't do the knockout thing. That's just not his jam. He's a points fighter. And Mullarkey, I just think his days of knocking people out are over. So Devontae Smith, not the Philadelphia Eagles Devontae Smith. He knocks out. He also knocked out Kama Worthy, but then Jalen Turner knocks him out, and then look what's happened to him. Michael Johnson split decision, Francisco Prado decision, that crazy loss against Naimov, and then McDessie again goes to decision. So I just don't think these guys have the power in their hands. Now, the chin of Mullarkey is a little bit worrisome. He can get pieced up, but Nasrat just doesn't seem like he's got the knockout power anymore. I don't have a real strong opinion on the side, but I do like the fight to go the distance. Sumaderji faces Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott stepping in on the short notice. And if Tim Elliott had a full camp and was in shape, this would be Tim Elliott, and it wouldn't even be close because Sumaderji's not very good on the ground. And Tim Elliott wins these fights by being just a dog on the ground and an animal and nonstop constant pressure and holding guys down and, relentless takedowns. Is he in shape? I don't know. This feels like one of those fights where it's towards the end of the year, somebody drops out. Tim Elliott wasn't planning on fighting. The UFC calls. It says, want a paycheck? And Tim Elliott says, yeah. I listened to a podcast, and I think it was Cody Saftik who said something like Tim Elliott's only been training only had been in the gym a couple days. So I can't confirm that. That's not coming from me. That's from another podcast. But it goes with what I'm worried about is that Sumaderji's in shape, and Tim Elliott may not be in shape. Now, maybe Tim Elliott's cardio's fine, and if it is, it's Tim Elliott all day, but there's no way I'm betting this fight pre-flop. What I'm going to do is live bet this thing. If I see Tim Elliott start to slow in the first round, I'm going to bet on Sumaderji because Sumaderji's got pretty decent power on his feet. He is coming off a loss against Matt Schnell, and one of the things that worries me, well, one of many things, he took a lot of damage. I mean, he had Schnell dead to rights, ends up getting submitted, so that was bad. He got submitted, but he also just took a ton of damage, and it comes out he was fighting on a torn ACL. So he's had to have knee surgery. He took a ton of damage in that fight, and he got submitted by a guy that was almost unconscious. So not great looks for Sumaderji, but this is a messy, messy fight. I would not bet on anything before the fight happens. I would use this as a live betting opportunity and possibly see if you can grab Sumaderji if Tim Elliott looks exhausted at the end of the first round. Anthony Smith and Khalil Rountree. Here's another one where Anthony Smith steps in short notice, face Rountree. Rountree's won 4 straight fights, I believe. Yeah, so Bukowskis, Carl Robertson, Dustin Jacoby, and Chris Chris Daukaus. Sorry. I think what worries me if I'm betting on Rountree is what if Anthony Smith is able to get the takedown, because Rountree's kind of struggled in that. But I think Rountree's is going to be faster. So I think it's going to be tough for Anthony Smith to really track him down. And if he shoots and Rountree's faster and just kind of gets out of the way, I think Rountree can land shots, and it doesn't take very long into the fight before Anthony Smith is he's not a fast guy to begin with, but once the fight gets going, he's really not fast, and if he wears damage, then he's really, really not fast. So I think Rountree is going to have a pretty big speed advantage here, especially coming in off a short notice. Anthony Smith beat Ryan Spann. Not sure he won it, but congratulations. Before that, loses to Johnny Walker. If Anthony Smith tries to stand and bang and just land shots with Rountree, I think Rountree does enough damage to get the win. If Smith can get him on the ground, he's got a really, really good chance of holding him down, doing ground and pound, possibly getting in a submission. It's just, is Smith going to have the speed to do that? I don't think he does. I think Rountree ends up taking this one, but you're going to pay a pretty penny on it. I believe it's minus 250, so I'm not willing to lay that one. I will sit that one out with my own money. And Yadong Song, Chris Gutierrez, I'll tell you right now, I like this fight to go for a while. I would take some overs in this one. It wouldn't surprise me if this thing went the distance. So Gutierrez, I've talked about this, has lost to Pedro Muniz. He even said it. He didn't push forward. He let Muniz push him forward. And it was just a bad look. And he made the right adjustments. And the next fight against Ali Tang, he pushed forward. He landed his leg kicks. He absolutely destroyed the leg. And that's what he's going to have to do in this one. It's not going to be as easy because Yadong is much faster than him. But I liked what I saw from Gutierrez in the last fight. That being said, I didn't think he was that dominant. His opponent wasn't great. and he's going to have to speed it up a little bit. His speed's going to have to be better because Song is just way, way faster. So we look at Song, and it is amazing. This guy's 20-7. He's only 26 years old. So, he gets he gets these wins over Casey Kenny, okay, split. Julia Arce, okay, win, and then knocks out Marlon Moraes, who everyone has knocked out. And then he jumps up to Corey Sandhagen. And I just thought it was an insane step up in competition. And even though he lost because of a doctor stoppage, I thought he put on a good show. I thought he was game. His fight against Ricky Simone was amazing. Those guys put on a battle. And I thought that was a damn good win because Simone was game. Simone landed a bunch of shots. There was a lot of wrestling. There was a lot of grappling. Yadong Song showed incredible cardio. And I don't put too much into him knocking out Marlon Moraes or Julio Arce. Gutierrez is tough, man. I think these guys are going to feel each other out for the first round. And once it gets out of the first round, I think that the leg kicks of Gutierrez are going to start to take their toll. And when they take their toll, Yadong Song's not going to be as fast. I see a recipe for this fight going into later rounds and possibly going all 5 rounds just because I think Gutierrez is going to be able to stay out of the way of the big shot. I don't see a submission coming in this one. These guys are strikers. And sometimes when you get these two strikers, both of them are scared to get knocked out. So you end up with them kind of being a little bit low volume and a little bit conservative. Now, I don't think that is going to happen with Yadong Song. He seems to be really wanting to get in there and mix it up. But I just don't see a knockout coming from these guys. I think it's going to be a lot of jabs, a lot of kicks. And once we get out of that second round, I just wonder if either of these guys will have the energy left to KO the other because both of them are really, really tough. They can take shots, but they can give them out. So I'm not going to pay minus 375 or minus 400 on Yadong Song. I think he wins, but I think that price is insane. Instead, I would just look to some overs, like maybe over, if you're looking for a parlay piece, maybe over 1.5 rounds or over 2.5 rounds or fight to start round 3. Something like that would be what I would get involved with. So just quick recap. Rayanne Amanda, I like her to beat Alencar. I think that fight could look pretty bad for Alencar. Her grappling is all she's got. Striking and striking defense, no bueno. Taira, I think, takes care of Carlos Hernandez. Agar is an underdog. I hope she wins just for her sake, because if not, now we're just looking at Stephanie Agar, and it's like, all right, you like, we know you got all the talent, but you just can't put it together, and that's 3 out of 4 losses. So I'll take Agar. Just on her best day, I think she's better than Luana Santos. Steve Garcia, Melquizael, Costa, no opinion. I have no idea what's going to happen in this one with Garcia missing weight or the illness. So that's a pass. Park, Shannon, Ross to not go the distance. Ross's glass chin may be exposed early on, and Park has very little striking defense himself. Kenan Song, Kevin Jousset, no opinion on that one. Muniz versus Park. I like Park to win that one. I think he melts Muniz with pressure over the course of the fight. Maybe goes the distance, but wouldn't surprise me if Park finishes Muniz when Muniz kind of gasses or just kind of gives up. I like Mullarkey and Haqparast to go the distance. Both guys are not knockout artists anymore. Nasrat's never really been. Mullarkey's got pillow hands at this point. Worry about the chin a little bit on Mullarkey, but Nasrat hasn't knocked anybody out in a while, so I like that to go the distance. Tim Elliott, Sumaderji, live bet this thing. If Tim Elliott gets really, really tired on short notice, then you can live bet Sumaderji. Anthony Smith, Rountree, ever so slightly into Rountree, but I'm certainly not betting this one. And Yadong Song and Chris Gutierrez, I like overs in this one. Slightly into Song, but I'm certainly not betting the side on that one, just the overs. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for UFC Fight Night. Hit the like button. Leave me a comment. Good luck on all your plays. My best bet is up at WagerTalk.com. I will be live on the YouTube channel Takedown Live tomorrow watching all of the fights. So join me there. Good luck on all your plays, and we'll see everyone next video.